Good evening, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. Happy hump day. We are halfway through the week, and today was just another day. It wasn't any different. We had sunny skies and a lot of cloud cover overhead, and I just want to get things started and make sure audio is working okay. Sounds good to me. All right, yeah, so there's downtown San Antonio. There's the airport. It's showing quiet conditions. We're not getting a feed out of Calaveras Lake, but it's all just partly cloudy, if not clear out there, so no big changes. If you have any questions, comment down below, and we can definitely talk about weather in your neck of the woods, in your neighborhood, or maybe if you're traveling, we can always talk about weather not just in Texas, but across the entire U.S., and we can talk about, national weather, state weather, or even international weather, which is what we're talking about right now, right over here. So, people, think like October, colder weather. No, it's still pretty warm in South Texas with high temperatures like in the 90s, which is what we've seen these last few weeks. But also another, flip side of that is the tropics can sometimes, I say that hesitantly because it doesn't always happen, sometimes can bring us some rain from the tropics in October. But it is October through November when the hurricane activity starts to really wind down. But right now, there is a storm out there. There is Tropical Storm Jerry on this Wednesday night. It is looking a little bit more impressive from what it was earlier today. There's a lot more convection, a lot more thunderstorm development on that eastern, southeastern side, right about there. You can see that storm developing pretty good right there. Just so much heat that's being released by the center of the storm that is Jerry. Karen, good evening. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Hope you had a great week, and hope you have a great Wednesday, Karen. Thanks for saying good evening. Thank you so much. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Yeah, so there's Jerry, and then out to the west is some more rain. In the southern Gulf, the hurricane's watching this particular area. Has a low chance of developing, but basically it's going to run out of room and just bring some rain to central Mexico through tomorrow and Friday. But yeah, there's Jerry right there. So that's another storm in the Atlantic. If you look closely off the coast of the western coast of Mexico, this is Priscilla right there. And then behind it, I don't think it's named yet, but it looks really impressive. This will be Hurricane Raymond, I believe. That's the next name for the Pacific name storms. Because you zoom out, right? The Atlantic has a set of names and the Pacific has a set of names. So two completely named lists. So there's Jerry. After Jerry is Karen. And right now, Karen's not expected to not develop anytime soon, but we'll keep a close eye on the tropics. Good evening, Jacob. Hope you're having a wonderful night. All right, there's Jerry's forecast track. Likely going to become a Cat 1 sometime later this week, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And just like Hurricane Aaron and Hurricane Umberto, making basically like a near miss towards Bermuda. But of course, Bermuda can still see high waves, rainfall from these storms and hurricanes, even though they're not experiencing a direct impact. It still can be a problem. So any family or friends traveling to Bermuda later this week, that's where the weather will be a little bit difficult. Why can't we get any of the storms our way, Jared? I know, I wish I could control the storms. I wish I could bring the rain us here because, drought's bad. We've seen a rainfall deficit, especially in our eastern counties. San Antonio so far this year is at 25 inches of rainfall. That's at the airport. That's about average, but the last 3 to 4 weeks have been extremely dry, and we do need rain, that's for sure. October typically brings good rains based on average, but recently, ever since October began, it's just been kind of hit or miss showers here and there. Good evening, Jacob. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening, Jacob. But yeah, Jared, I wish we could get some more rain, and a lot of times in September and October, they usually come in from the south as tropical systems, whether they're organized or disorganized. But right now, nothing immediate in regarding tropical activity towards Texas. I wish there was, but nothing at the moment. From Karen, you got a little rain yesterday. Yeah, yesterday and today, kind of spotty, widely scattered rain. It wasn't heavy or severe, but there were areas of rain across San Antonio, the hill country, especially like south and west of San Antonio today. That's where it was a little bit more scattered, and San Antonio is more isolated. But there were a couple of areas of rain between like 410 and 151 and towards like the SeaWorld area. There were a couple of hit or miss areas of rain, but again, nothing heavy or severe. All right, back to the tropics. So Jerry is a cat. It's going to be a Cat 1 later this weekend. Next name on the list is Karen. So we're actually halfway through the 2025 season of names. I don't think we're going to need all of them, but if we did, next is Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, and Wendy. So those are the remaining names on the 25 list. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, that is the list of 25 Atlantic names. All right, so there's radar. You can see it was a little active earlier today, but not really in the San Antonio area. It was mostly, again, southwest, south of San Antonio. It's dry, though. Here are the October averages. This is what's normal for this time of year, and I do want to go into detail about the red and purple color at the very bottom. So those numbers in blue, 87 to 77 and 65 to 55, that's afternoon high, morning low. What's normal this time of year? So we should be cooling down. It hasn't felt that way, but we should be based on the numbers and the averages over the last 100 years. This is what it averages out at for the daytime high and the afternoon high and the morning low. Average rainfall, 3.7. Don't think we're going to see that, but hottest temperature ever recorded in October, San Antonio history. Back in 1991, 99 degrees. Coldest, it was sub-freezing, was 27 degrees in 1993 in October. So, you know, the blue numbers represent what's probable, but the red and purple number at the very bottom, the coldest and hottest temperature ever recorded, those show what's possible. So, meaning that we can see big temperature swings and fluctuations this time of year, but at the moment it's just been hot. You know, no huge weather makers or weather changes or rain-making systems moving in. We could use some rain and we could use some colder weather. And I would say for the next 10 days, pretty quiet. Highs still upper 80s, lower 90s, a few degrees above average, unfortunately. But around the 19th, 20th, and 21st, that's when models are saying, hey, you know, we could see a frontal boundary move in. And that would line up with not just average, but what happened last year. So if you look to my left, you're right? Well, you're left, my right. The typical time we see below average 70-degree days, right, which is like the afternoon high, is pretty much like between late October to like mid-November. That's the time frame it happens. So the first column is showing you what's average based on the numbers from previous years. The second column in green, the dark green, is showing you what happened to last year. So that's a good barometer on when to expect cooler weather, because they can happen as early as mid-September, but they can happen as late as December and January if we just don't get lucky with cold fronts. So, for example, last year we didn't get below 70 for a high temperature. Morning was different, but these are daytime highs. It wasn't until like mid to late November, like Thanksgiving time frame, when our high temperature got below 70. Below 60 wasn't until early December, and then below 50 not until like late December, January time frame. So it just shows you that we still have a long way to go. October is not really a month where we see big cold fronts, but it is a month of transition where temperatures gradually, slowly cool down, as we're going to see later in the next few weeks. All right, so let's talk about it. On this Wednesday night, 87 degrees. It's feeling decent. We have a light breeze out there from the northeast, nothing too gusty. At the moment, 79 at Bernie, a little cooler in southern Kendall and northwest Bexar County. 83 at Hallettsville, 80 at Victoria, 86 at Del Rio, 73 in Rock Springs. Here's what we can expect overnight. Temperatures are not going to get that much cooler, but cooler than the last few mornings, that's for sure. So tomorrow morning in the city, 70 to 71, 65 at Bernie, 64 in Fredericksburg and Kerrville, and 72 in Seguin tomorrow morning, and 74 in George West, same thing at Uvalde. Partly cloudy, not too much going on. So we had a front like stall out near central Texas, near Austin, and what that's basically doing is pushing out some of the humidity, and the air is going to be a little drier for tomorrow and Friday, which is going to help with some of the temperatures for tomorrow morning. But obviously that's not cold, that's not chilly, but it is cooler compared to previous mornings. And the fact that you knock out the humidity, it feels a little bit better. So tomorrow morning I think will feel phenomenal, just not as cool as, you know, like last week's mornings, that's for sure. Let's take a look. We have a couple of isolated showers out near Sabinal, Hondo, Highway 90, south of Utopia and across Medina and eventually Uvalde County. But, these downpours that are forming, there's no upper level support, and they're pretty much just driven by what was, heating of the day. Now we're starting to cool off. So I don't think these showers, while they're a little heavy in rural parts of southern Medina County, they're not going to last very long. I think they'll build for the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then I would guarantee you by about 9:10, 9:15, they fizzle out and they rain themselves out by the time they make it anywhere near Uvalde. And even I would guarantee you Sabinal is probably not going to see anything. If Sabinal sees anything, it'll be like a few droplets, but that's about it. The heaviest amount of rain will probably fizzle out because, again, there's no support in the upper levels right now. All right, so let's talk about that. We have those isolated downpours out near Medina County. Let me actually delete these real time. How about the tropics from Kyler? Yeah, Kyler, not much out there. I mean, there is Tropical Storm Jerry. I know you're just joining us, but we talked about it earlier, but let's go back to it, and then we'll take a look at radar again. There's Jerry, and, there is a little wave in the southern Gulf near Mexico, but not expected to bring anything towards Texas, unfortunately. We could use the rain. But there's Jerry right there, and here's Jerry's path over the next 5 to 6 days, nearing Bermuda by Sunday as a Category 1, and that's pretty much it. Tropical activity, it's pretty quiet at the moment. Karen, you're very welcome. Absolutely. Thank you so much. How did the clouds get so puffy like they did yesterday? And even today, Karen, the clouds got very, very, we call it, cumulus congestus, where the clouds really build up in vertical height. And that's why they look so puffy, is because, there's so much moisture and it's so hot, lower 90s, hot air rises. And when there's humidity in place, the hot air helps build up some of those tall cumulus clouds. And then not to mention there is that front that's, pumping the brakes out in central Texas. That provides a little bit of lift, and some of these clouds can produce rain, but the front can act as like a lifting mechanism where it builds up these clouds a little bit more in height. So that's why you see a lot of those puffy clouds out there, is because humidity, heat, lower 90s for high temperatures, and some of that frontal energy that's helping lift up some of these clouds. So yeah, nothing too concerning out there right now. Weak front out there. Tomorrow afternoon, I think you'll notice a breezy on and off wind, 15 to maybe 25 miles an hour at times. Nothing too windy, but a light breeze for Thursday afternoon and Friday as well, which is going to pertain to a fire threat. Now, it's not extreme, but avoiding the outdoor burning at all costs, because with the drought, the dry air that's going to move in for the next few days, and then the breezy winds at times can definitely help create a bad environment for fire weather. So fires and embers that spark off in dry grass, or from people burning trash, those embers can spread pretty quickly, and that's not good given the condition of our drought and land right now. So the fire danger, it's high to very high in some areas between San Antonio, Gonzales, and especially southeast of San Antonio. Tomorrow, 92 on Friday and 91 on Saturday. So as you can see, not much of a change in the afternoons, but in the mornings, it'll get cooler. Tomorrow morning, 70. Friday morning, 66, 67. And then Saturday morning, around 62. A little cooler across the hill country all 3 mornings as well. So it'll feel a lot better. But yeah, the afternoons just don't change much, because what's influencing and what's driving our not just short range, but long range pattern is just this ridge, this big blue H in the atmosphere, and it creates a lid over the atmosphere. It pushes down on the sky, and it creates a lot of heat. We're looking at lower 90s for the foreseeable future. And it's not till, again, the 19th, 20th, 21st, when things begin to change. That's when a lot of the models are saying like a decent front coming in. Our first October cold front, I would say, sometime around October 20th is when the long range guidance is suggesting right now. We'll see what happens though. They look like animals sometimes. Yeah, Karen. When you keep looking and staring at clouds, your imagination just goes in all different directions, and you see these clouds and they look like different things, and I know exactly what you mean. And they can look like animals, that's for sure. All right, guys, that is your 14-day forecast. We'll be on live in about an hour on Kent's 5 News at 10 for another update. But yeah, mornings feeling a little bit better through Sunday and Monday. Next 4 to 5 mornings, I think, feel phenomenal. Lower humidity, light breeze, and temperatures in the overnights, lower 60s, upper 50s. Doesn't feel half bad. But the afternoons, yeah, normal high this time of year is like 86 degrees for an afternoon high. And instead, we're hitting like 91, 92 for the next 7 days. And it's not until the 19th and 20th when things begin to change with some cooler weather on the horizon. All right, guys, have a great Wednesday evening. Be safe, and we'll see you on Kent's 5 News at 10.